The Houston Rockets just finished their preseason, and they were hooping. I'm not gonna lie, they were 4-0. Everything looked good. Efficiency off the charts from the young core. KD looked good with the guys. So Will and I are gonna go over everything. We're excited for the first game against OKC, of course, but we're gonna talk about that as well. So stay tuned for this episode. It's gonna be a good one.
All right, and welcome back to the episode of the Brado and Will Show. Today we have a very special episode because we're going to go over the last two preseason games. We're kind of just recapping preseason as a whole for those of you who did not miss it. Maybe you did watch it. You just want to hear our thoughts on it. But yes, man, preseason is over. The Houston Rockets did go 4-0. They played the Atlanta Hawks, the Utah Jazz. Who do we play third?
I'm going to draw the Pelicans. The
Pelicans third, yes, sir. And we played the Atlanta Hawks a second time for the fourth game. Went 4-0 in all four games.
Yep.
We recapped games 1 and games 2 on our previous podcast. So if you want like some real in-depth analysis on those two games, go check that out. Tuesday was interesting because that was the game where we had all hands on deck for the most part, I believe. Yeah, we did. Everybody played the game who you care about, except for Durant Finney-Smith. He's still out with his ankle injury. But yeah, we had all hands on deck for that one. Thursday was a bit more interesting because we did not have all hands on deck for that one. We only had Reed Sheppard, and I guess you could count Josh Okogie as like a rotation. Or I guess Aaron Holiday is probably more closer in the rotation.
Okogie may be playing a little bit to start without DFS there.
Yeah. So we of all the guys, I guess you would care about. It was just Reed Sheppard Thursday. They rested all the starters. So yeah, we can go over those two games and just kind of the takeaways from that. Actually, you know what? Let's start with Reed since he looked really good in that. Yesterday's game. He had the game by himself. Man, there was because I'm gonna go over who did not play real quick. Clint Capella did not play. Steven Adams did not play. Kevin Durant did not play. Obviously, Fred, DFS, and Jason Tate did not play with injuries. Sengun did not play. Jabari did not play. Tari Eason did not play. And Thompson did not play. And, with the exception of the guys who were hurt, these were all just healthy scratches. They were last game of preseason. They weren't to rest. So yeah, Reed went into this game. Like I said, matter of fact, let me read to you who did play this game. So outside of Reed, I said Josh Okogie played, Isaiah Crawford played, J.D. Davidson played, Aaron Holiday played, Jeff Green played. Who is this? Kevon Harris played, and then Cameron Matthews played. So some guys, so you probably know
those two-way guys are out there.
8 guys registered minutes, right? And we were able to beat the Atlanta Hawks. I should throw this out there too. The Hawks who were without Dyson Daniels and Jalen Johnson, but they had their main rotation for the most part playing. Ricochet played, Porzingis played, Trae Young played, Alexander Walker played, Okongwu played, their first round pick Asa Newell played, Luke Kennard played. So they had a lot of guys who are probably going to be in their actual rotation this season, like I said, minus Dyson and Jalen Johnson. And Reed Sheppard and these G League guys went out there and beat them. And like I said, I want to highlight Reed Sheppard because in this game, he had 29 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals, 3 blocks. He was 7-22 from the field, 5-13 from 3. Only 2 turnovers for a 66 true shooting. So enough about that. Brad, what do you think about that Reed Sheppard game? Or I guess the game minus, the starters against the Hawk starters.
Yeah, Reed, being there in person too, Reed looked really good. We all saw the stat line, the efficiency, the confidence. That's what I've been looking forward to seeing from Reed Sheppard. But again, what stands out in an Ime Udoka, led system is defense. And again, I've mentioned this on pod before. He had a high steal percentage, high block percentage in Kentucky, and it's kind of been translating. But in that last game, with 4 steals, 3 blocks, I believe, really good at those swipe downs, getting blocks, all that good stuff. Reed just altogether looked like a really good player, looked like a 3rd overall pick for real. So yeah, wherever the Rockets throw him, whether it's starting or off the bench, I'm excited for him. He finished the preseason averaging, I can pull up his numbers because I just had it up. He had a really good stat line. He was averaging 15 on 51, 41, 83 splits, 4.7 boards, had 3 assists, right? And 1.5 blocks and 1.5 steals a game. So really good preseason. And that's only in 23 minutes. That's about the minutes I'd expect him to play in the regular season. So yeah, I'm really excited for Reed. He looked amazing in that Hawks game. And yeah, beating the Hawks primary squad, minus those 2 that you mentioned, Will, Johnson and Daniels, is still very impressive. And we've seen Reed play good against starters before. He did it against the Clippers. He did it against the Lakers. He did against OKC last year in those 3 starts. He averaged around 20 points on good efficiency. So, yeah, for the 5th time, I'll say I'm excited about him. He looked really good in that game.
So I pulled up his numbers from excuse me, the Pelicans game where in 19 minutes he had 13 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, still on a block.
Yeah.
Scored in the field 3-6 from 3, made all his free throws. Did have 4 turnovers, which is nasty. But true shooting, and this is the game he came off the bench because we decided to start Steven Adams
Right.
the other game. But yeah, man, there's like I guess 2 quick takeaways for this. He put up about 7 threes in the 4 preseason games with 6.8 threes. Shot about 41% from 3 on 7 attempts, which is absurd efficiency. Now, mind you, it is a 4-game sample size, so you know it's not, you can't extrapolate that to like say it'll convey to an 82-game season. But
Right.
7 threes and you made 42%. I'm sorry, 41% of that. That is absurd efficiency. We've been talking about ways to supplement the loss of Fred VanVleet. One of the things that Fred VanVleet gave us that we are really going to miss is 3-point volume.
Yeah.
7 threes, 41%, man. Like, let's see it. He had a couple of high finishes for the Rockets. So, like, obviously, I love seeing that. We drafted him highly in large part because we believe in his ability to space the floor at all times. But the big thing for me that I want to highlight is a lot of like the conversations around Reed Sheppard is that he's a defensive liability, that he's too small and doesn't have the long enough wingspan, not strong enough to play defense. I feel like if we've been watching these games, there's no way you could be walking away with those conclusions because not only has he not been a defensive liability, he's been a real plus on it. And I will, throw out the caveat that when he's like point of attack against like a really tall dude, like Ricochet was, for some reason, I don't know if that was his assignment or if they just kept switching, but he was on Ricochet a lot. Yeah. We're recording this on Friday. And like there was times where Ricochet was just too tall and too strong for him. I mean, Ricochet's 6'10", 6'11". So like, yeah, it makes sense why a 6'10", 6'11" guy is bullying the 6'3" and shoes guy. But like, so like there's times where that will take place, but anytime where he's not on like a severe mismatch, he's playing really good defense. Like I said, he had, was it 4 steals and 3 blocks? Yes, 4 steals and 3 blocks in 29 minutes against the Hawks yesterday. And like, it was real. Like he was everywhere, flying across the court, making plays, getting in passing lanes, stripping ball handlers. I don't think he got anybody at the apex of their jumper against the Hawks, but I do know there was a couple games this preseason where he did block apex.
The Pels game for sure.
Yes.
He did.
Yeah. Yes. And I don't know if this is a record, but I know he had one of, if not the highest vertical in that 2024 draft class. I don't know if you remember the top of your head.
He did 42 inches.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, he has a really good vertical, which is allowing him to get those blocks. And I've been saying it for the longest time, man. Defense is like 70 to 80% effort, right? A lot of it is, do you have the wingspan, the length, you know what I'm saying, the foot speed to be a good defender? But there's a lot of guys out there who have, the intangibles to be a good defender, and they're not because they don't want to be. And, there's a lot of guys out there who are on the smaller side who are good defenders because they want to be good defenders. And Reed Sheppard is someone who this offseason talked about, like when the season first ended, he didn't even pick up a basketball in his workouts. All he was doing was straight defensive drills. That's all he did this summer, was lock in on defense, and then he picked up a basketball after that. Yeah. When you want to play good defense, you're going to play good defense. And I think Reed Sheppard is the living embodiment of that because he's the definition of heart over heart. We watched the clip last episode where Kevin Love had him pretty much beat, and he still found a way to beat him to stop Kevin Love. Like stuff like that you don't do unless, like I said, it's you want to be a good defender. So I think if you're concerned about Reed Sheppard defensively, we can kind of pump the brakes. I think, like I said, there's areas you can improve at, but I think it's also important to contextualize that he is, I can keep saying he's the redshirt rookie. He's 21 years old, I believe. Right? 21 years old. So, he still has a lot of his game to grow. He can get a lot stronger. He can continue to bulk up and improve on that end. But I think where he's starting is a pretty good foundation. I don't know, Brad. I guess we can kind of jump to this.
I wanted to tailor off into what you said.
Okay, go ahead. No, I was going to ask you a question about Reed. Go ahead.
Oh, actually, no. Yeah, ask your Reed question first. Then
I was going to ask you. So, because Steven Adams had a good preseason, but he also didn't play that much because he's the vet, and they're kind of preserving him. Yeah. So, if it's up to you, right? Okay. Obviously, Min Thompson, Alperen Sengun, Kevin Durant, and Jabari Smith, those are the 4 starters. I also would imagine probably opening night against OKC, they're probably going to go Steven Adams just to compete on the glass, win that possession battle, limit the turnover, stuff like that. So, like, I imagine that's what they're going to do opening night. Now, from that moment forward, Ime Udoka said the lineup is fluid. What would you do? Steven Adams or Reed Sheppard for that 5th starter?
See, I thought you were going to ask me about opening night, but you answered
No, no,
because
opening
you're
night's
right.
too easy.
Yes, I think
That's too
I
easy.
agree with you. I think it's going to be Steve-O. Going forward, though, I forget who said it, but they made a good point for consistency purposes. And I don't know when DFS comes back, but is your question about when DFS comes back too, or just
Until he comes back, because I'd imagine when DFS comes back, we can reevaluate this
Yeah,
conversation.
I agree. Until that happens, for consistency purposes, I almost just like putting Reed in there because Steve-O's a guy who can't play back-to-backs. But again, we don't really have a back-to-back until like December 5th or somewhere along those lines. Not pretty, I think in December-ish. So I think I'd go with Reed and then bring in Steven as a first sub. That's just me personally. It would be good regardless. I just don't want to play Steve-O too many minutes. They're going to be good on the boards for sure. I mean, it's a tall team regardless. And then you sub in Steven Adams and then you just dominate with double big from there. So that's what I would do personally. I think Reed's going to be fine regardless. He probably is better suited almost coming off the bench. He can get more shots up. But I like seeing him play with like KD, Amin, Sengun. I mentioned on our last pod, he's going to get so many easy looks next to those guys just because he's not really going to be the focus. But what would you say before we move on to the next player?
No, I'd start Reed. At least until he shows me that he's not capable of being a starter, because he looked good when we started him. We started him
the first two preseason games.
What date was that? I'm gonna pull
that was the Pels game. No, I'm sorry, not the Pels game. The 6th and the 8th is when they started.
Yeah, so that first game against the Hawks, he
didn't have the best. He was 2 for 6, I believe. 1 for 4 from 3. Does that sound right? He had like 7 points.
I don't even see his name. Yeah. So he had a rough start. I don't remember it being this bad opening. The
stats looked worse than what it really was.
That's what I remember. That's what I said. I remember his stats looked worse than how he played, and I remember I said Amin's was the opposite. Amin's stats looked better than he played. That's what it was. Yeah. He looked worse than his. I mean, he looked better than his stats suggested. And then against the Jazz, he had 11 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists.
In that game, he looked good in that one for sure.
70 true shooting. So yeah, like he's been playing pretty well when we started him, and I've been saying a lot. Like I think developing Reed Sheppard is one of the most important things for this team, just in terms of one, like I said, we're going to be without Fred VanVleet. So just in terms of supplanting the loss of Fred, but also in terms of just the future of this team, I think someone with Reed's hypothetical skill set next to Amin Thompson and Alperen Sengun is just insane. And so like I definitely want to develop him. So for the sake of developing him, for the sake of, I think we're going to need some extra ball handling in that starting lineup, some extra spacing. That's another thing too, is even when Reed doesn't shoot the ball well, he gets guarded like he does. And Jabari is another guy who, I guess we'll talk about it with Jabari is in preseason. He's kind of been I won't say as guarded as tightly as what we could expect from him. But I think there's some reasons for that. But everything else, Jabari is somebody who gets guarded, and we know if you don't guard him, he's going to make the shot, right? Yeah. So you talk about, and then obviously KD's never getting he's going to have 2 guys guarding him. It doesn't matter what. So you talk about providing spacing for Amin and Sengun. I think Reed gives you the best chance to do that. And then the continuity. That's the last thing. Is just you don't want your starting lineup changing every other night. Like you'd want it to be. It can be fluid, but you'd want there to be some consistency to it. And I think just in terms of being consistent, I think it has to be Reed. So yeah, I would actually go with Reed as my 5th starter if it was up to me.
I'll say this for the next player. Will mentioned a really good note. Seeing Reed go out there.
Talk about Jabari.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was about to do.
That's what Jabari. Yeah,
that's what I was about to say, because I was going to say Will mentioned Reed shooting a bunch of threes at a high volume, hitting them at a 41% clip. I was going to say Jabari shot 47% on threes on 6.3 attempts, and that's amazing to Will's point. And so I want to speak to his preseason because he probably was the MVP of the preseason. In my personal opinion, he led the team in scoring. Yeah. Had like 48, 47, 91 split. Actually, Sengun might be there.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if it's Jabari.
The whole team was cutting up, and even Amin was going crazy. But
see, the thing, it's tough.
I'll take away the MVP conversation. I'll give it to Sengun off principle because
let's revisit that. Let's revisit that. That's tough.
At the end of the pod, at the end. But Jabari was hooping again. Led the team in scoring against the Pelicans, particularly. That was his breakout preseason game. He had like 26 points, really good efficiency. He was hitting pull-up middies. He was knocking down the 3. Most importantly, he was 9 of 9, or I think he was 8 of 8 from the free throw line. Amin may have went 9 of 9 in that game. But knocking down the free throw, getting to the line, more importantly, he's getting to the cup at a different rate than he was. Again, it's 3 preseason games, guys. But I'm just speaking on what I saw in those 3 preseason games. He looked really good. And that's encouraging to see. Again, he was drafted as a shooter coming out of Auburn. We have not quite seen that. We've seen about 35% from Jabari. If you can up that to 39, 40, that's a game changer, especially at the volume he shoots at. So I had to speak to what I saw from Bari. And last thing I'll say, people on Twitter, I think Red 94 said it, that Jabari has been literally tailing KD.
I was going to mention that.
And that's amazing. I saw it when I went to the Atlanta game yesterday. They were the only two Rockets out there like an hour before, and they were just going jumper for jumper, doing the exact same workout. And I'd imagine it's a lot like that from what we're not seeing as well. So really good part of the KD signing is, of course, a lot of those young guys soaking that knowledge, and Jabari is just stuck right there next to him, and that's going to be amazing.
Yeah. So I did want to mention that Jabari had a really good preseason. I think the decision making in game one could have been a bit better. I think after that it improved. The main thing I was going to say for Jabari is what you talked about with the threes. Like I said, I think this as a team that's going to struggle with 3-point volume. I think we're going to struggle with it with Fred. I think without Fred, it's like you're really going to struggle. So you need someone to put up threes. And Jabari had an emphasis on putting up threes, and I love that. I need him. I think he shot it with confidence. I need him to shoot it with even more confidence. Like, let them put him up and like live with the results of him because he is one of our best shooters. And we're gonna have to rely upon him to make those threes. So yeah, I love the fact that he was putting them up with confidence. Keep letting him shoot it with confidence. And then obviously the thing I was gonna talk about was him telling Kevin Durant. He said something in media day that's kind of stuck with me. It was basically like he would be a fool to not try to soak up as much knowledge from Kevin Durant, spend as much time with him. And like, that's the mentality that you want to hear from him. And through everything we've heard from him, in the off season, so training camp, so what we've seen, from what Brad was talking about in preseason, before the games, different stuff like that. Like, it seems like he really is taking advantage of every opportunity to learn from Kevin Durant. And I mean, he's not going to be Kevin Durant, obviously, but just being able to learn from that. That's one of the things I said. I remember if I said it in the podcast when we got Katie, but I know I've said it on here a couple of times. For as good of vets as Fred and Dylan were, and I guess to a lesser degree like Jeff Green and stuff like that, for as good of vets, because they've been amazing vets for us, right? None of those guys know what it's like to be a star or MVP. Fred knows it's like to be a champion, right? And matter of fact, funny enough, was even going to get Finals MVP votes, but they don't know what it's like to be like the guy of a team, right? These are guys who have made careers off of doing like the little things and being good vets, being good locker room guys. Kevin Durant is the star of stars. Like, he knows what it's like to be, not to be a star, but to be a star for a very long time. He's going into year 19, I believe. And so, like, to know what it's like to be a star for this long, that's a perspective that Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, Jeff Green, they can't give Jabari and these young guys that perspective. KD can't. And so I think one of the benefits of bringing in Kevin Durant is that you will have someone to convey that perspective, show them what it's like to work, and what it takes to be a star, not just be a star, but like I said, be a star for a long time in this league. And so I love that Jabari is not like letting that opportunity go by. He's taking advantage of it fully. And if there was anybody, if you could just design a person for Jabari to learn from, I think it is Kevin Durant. So I love that I'm seeing that from him as well. Oh, actually, real quick, one thing that I will say, because it was really evident in that Pelicans game. Like I said, the reason why I struggled to say that Jabari was getting guarded like super duper tightly, like, I didn't think it probably changed the regular season, but because our starting lineup is so scary now, right? Because you have Kevin Durant who commands like two guys at all times. Alperen Sengun, same thing there. If he's in the post, teams don't let Alperen Sengun play one-on-one in the post. And then Thompson doesn't command a double team yet, maybe, but he's someone that the defense is paying attention to because he's one of our best players. Because like you can't put any of your weakest links on those guys. And like if you're starting Steven Adams, which we did against the Pelicans, that was the thing we started Steven Adams, right? The
against the Pels. Yeah.
So like you're not gonna put your weakest link on Steven Adams. You have to put him on someone, and they put Jordan Poole on Jabari, and Poole was gapping, right? So like I want to make it clear, like Poole gapped a lot that game, but Jabari punished them for the gap. And then not only did he punish him for the gap, when Jabari had opportunities to essentially take advantage of the fact that Jordan Poole was 6'3", 6'4", and Jabari 6'11", right? He punished Jordan Poole for being smaller, and I think that's gonna be a consistent theme we see. Whether we start with Reed or Steven Adams, these guys are gonna get guarded by weaker guys by virtue of you can't put that guy on KD, Sengun, or Mint. You just can't. You got to put him on somebody. So put him on Jabari. Jabari is going to have the opportunity to cakewalk his way into about 15, 16 points a night because he's going to be getting the least amount of defensive attention. He's going to have the weakest defender, the shortest guy probably, you know what I'm saying? Because we run super duper tall lineup. So like, you know what I'm saying? The short guy got to guard somebody. And so because of that, Jabari is probably going to get that assignment. And what I love is if the defense isn't going to show you respect, make him pay for it. And through 4 preseason games, he made him pay for it. I think if this is a trend that's going to continue into the regular season, and I think he has an opportunity to make teams pay for it all season long. And I think if he's making teams pay for it, if that's like your 4th option, I mean, I don't really know how you go out the Houston Rockets then, dude. Because like I said, you can't. I mean, who you take Jordan Poole off? You put them all in. That's the plan. You put them on Shingle. Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll let my plan there.
Yeah, I'll jump to, again, really fun preseason from Jabari, but that's the case for a lot of these young guys. Let's go to Sengun, because we talked about him potentially being the MVP. Yep. Sengun, I'll say this, he led the preseason in assists, like 8.7 assists per game, like just absurd play. In his second game, had 13 assists. Third game, you couldn't even say he had a bad game. It was I'll say it was a bad Sengun game. He had 8 points on pretty bad efficiency, but he had 12 boards and 7 assists. And I couldn't even pinpoint 7 of them. Probably one of those assists I could probably pinpoint. It was that nice pass he had to a man along the baseline, and the man had a nice and one layup. But that's just how good he's going to be this year. He's going to just have the rock, and just his gravity alone is just going to just dominate. Like he was so good. His splits, most importantly, is what stood out to me. 52, 50, 100 splits. He shot 12 free throws, didn't miss a single one. He took 5 threes. No. He took 6 threes, hit 3 of them.
Games.
Yep. And again,
two again.
Yeah, and then again, he shot 52% from the field. Gotcha. Insane efficiency, around 68 true shooting percentage. I'd have to look. But yeah, you have to be excited about Sengun. I mean, when you lose a guy like Fred, everyone's concerned about the playmaking. You have your guy. It's the 6'11" guy from Turkey. He's going to be running the show in Houston. And Carmelo Anthony said it. They talking about he might have a breakout year. Carmelo said shit, he might be MVP. He might be in that MVP conversation. Yeah, and he will be in that MVP conversation because he was kind of in it last year. Now he wasn't really in it, but he was getting like some.
I don't know where he
like NBA was putting him like top 10. Like he was.
Yeah, but the NBA ladder had him floating around 10.
It never got above that. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think it ever got above that. But I mean, he'll. It's not going to be worse than last year. He's going to have much more of a role. Again, his assist numbers are going to skyrocket, and he's much better with his touch now that he's used to playing defense to an Ime Udoka level. So yeah, he's going to have a great year, and I got to speak again to his defensive IQ, 2 steals and a block a game as well. Again, guys, this is preseason, I know, but I'm just going off of the role I see from him playing with Kevin Durant. Alongside these other young guys who are going to improve too. So yeah, I thought Sengun had a hell of a preseason. While you go, I'll look for it. I'll look for it.
Okay. We'll swap off.
Yeah, we'll swap.
I got you. I'll let Brad take over.
Check.
Yeah. So Sengun, the reason why I struggled to say who I think the MVP is because I think that I think Sengun played, with the exception was the Pelicans game. Let me double check. That's the game where he kind of didn't have the best. I also don't think he was trying that hard. It's preseason and who cares?
Right.
So let me double check. Yeah, it was. So and I say that he wasn't trying that. I dropped my phone. He wasn't trying that hard. The dude still had 12 rebounds and 7 assists. Now he did have 6 turnovers, which is nasty, and he wasn't the most efficient.
That's what it was. Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, but honestly, I don't remember him throwing 6. Like when I checked the box score and it said he had 6, I was like, I don't remember that. But
yeah, I don't recall. Sometimes they're like loud turnovers. Like KD will have like 2 turnovers and it'll be loud because it's a lazy pass from the steal.
Yeah,
I don't remember any of those Sengun. Yeah, I agree with you.
But I mean, my point was, I think this was like a game where I could tell he kind of really wasn't trying all that hard. And I mean, like I said, it's preseason. Who cares? But yeah, I think he looked really good in the preseason. Like I said, he did not play in that final game. So the only game we can really talk about that's new is this the Pelicans game. That being said, he had 2 steals and a block in that game. Like I said, he had 12 boards, 7 assists. He's moving the ball well. The Rockets are kind of like, if there was ever a year for the Rockets to lean into Shin Hub, it's this year, and they've been doing that so far through the preseason. You'll see him at the top of the key, get the ball, kind of dictate where everybody goes. I think the only thing that I would want from him, and it's the same thing we've been talking about a lot, is just getting a bit more deeper in the post. And I think it's going to be a bit difficult to do now because we are asking to be sent up top of the key. But when he posts up, get a little bit deeper under the basket, you know what I'm saying, and then make it a bit easier for yourself on that end. That's just me nitpicking. I'm going to keep it a bean because I think outside of that, his defense was phenomenal. His rebounding was phenomenal. His playmaking was phenomenal. His scoring was phenomenal. He looked amazing. And it's a actually for him, 3-game sample size. So I obviously cannot draw too many conclusions off of 3 games, but we've seen him in these 3 games of preseason. We saw him in Eurobasket this summer. He looks really good. He looks really good. And you talk about all the things he's added to his game over the years. If he puts it all together, I said it last episode, the bar should be all NBA. He's that good. He's that good to where, like, I think if for some odd reason he does not make an all NBA team, and like it's not like you were snubbed kind of thing. It's like, yeah, you just didn't make it. I think we have to look at that as like, what did you do wrong? Because you're too good. You're too good to not be an all NBA team.
And I'll say this: he damn near made it last year.
He was a boat away from making it last year.
And he was extremely inefficient last
year.
He
had a down year from an efficient standpoint, and he was a boat away from making it last year.
Yeah.
So if he, like I said, puts it all together, the touch, like we've seen the touch in Eurobasket, it looked good. If that returns, dude, like I said, not only should he make it, he might be on second team, bro. With it being positionless, knock on wood, he makes the games play threshold. He might make second team. Like I think that's the expectations for Sengun, because he's that good at this age, and it just makes you. It just like it's scary because he's not that old. He's 23 years old, dude, and he's not in his prime. You don't hit your prime until you're about 26, 27, 28. So he's a couple years from his prime, and he's this good already.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited for the future. Oh, and last thing I'll say is one of the things that because I watched a couple of like his interviews with like I think it was Sports Illustrated and whatnot. He's talking about a championship a lot, man. Like every time he talks about a championship, and that gets me so excited because obviously I've never seen a Rockets championship in my lifetime. And so to know that like we have a guy on this team who's like that's his goal. He wants to bring a championship to Houston. That gets me excited, man. So shout out to Sengun for that.
Yeah, and last thing I'll say on Sengun, he obviously has a lot of fuel coming off that Eurobasket again. They lost in that championship. I know he's not happy about that. So not only does he want that trophy for his hometown, he wants it for the Houston Rockets. And so yeah, we're looking forward to it.
So we can go to Kevin Durant. I feel like we talked.
Okay, we going whole young Corey. I was thinking of him, but let's go to KD.
I think the people want to hear about KD. KD did not do too much because he obviously didn't play in the final game, and then he played that one game against the Pelicans. We had 15 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 6-13 from the field. Did not make a 3, 3 or 4 from the free throw line. I think with KD, because similar to Sengun, I think he kind of just went through the motions this game. I don't think he was like out there like really like I think there would be an intensity he would bring to the game in a regular season game that he did not show in that preseason game.
Right.
And on top of that, I think that we're still seeing him get accustomed to his new team. He's learning this team for the first time, and we're learning him for the first time. And so you're seeing him having to kind of like figure out where his spots are and where his teammates want the ball and how he wants to receive the ball from his teammates, where he wants to screen here or doesn't want to screen here, like the different nuances that you figure out over the course of a season. He's like, you're seeing him in real time have to figure that out. And I think that's part of what's playing into him not, like, at least in this game, because like I think the other games he was great, but in this particular game, why he did not play the way you would want him to, you know? Right. And I say that to say he still had 15 points on, you know, he kind of sleepwalked his way into it, right?
He was chilling.
Yeah. So like, I think like obviously the bar is a bit higher for KD, and I think the reason we didn't see him hit that high bar, like it's preseason, like I think he's still learning his teammates, and I expect those to be things that are improved upon. Like there's probably an emphasis they're gonna do when they go through and go through walkthroughs this week, and then obviously as the course of the season goes, they're gonna start figuring out, like I said, where he wants screens, when he wants them, how he wants the screens, where he wants the ball in the post, when it's his time to get the ball, you know, how he wants to inbounds the ball to Sengun or a min, like different stuff like that. They're gonna figure that out. And so like it's just exciting to know that like we have been kind of figuring it out on the fly, and it still looks really good. So that's kind of my takeaway on Kevin Durant.
For sure. Yeah, I'll say this about KD. Game 2, well, we talked about it again, started 0 for 3, hit his next 7 shots, finished 7 for 10. Next game, he started 0 for 4, finished 6 of 13. So overall, I mean, one, we know that the guy's a bucket. What I saw from him, he was really chilling, especially in that last game. But this is what KD likes to do. He likes to, like, he doesn't really force any action. You don't have to run everything through him. He's just going to get his buckets when they come. And that's why, again, I think Sengun, if anyone's in the MVP conversation, it's going to be him over KD because everything's going to be going.
Did you ever figure out where he finished or what the?
I think the highest I saw was 8 or 9. I think 8. But
I want to know where the ladder, because I'm looking at the votes. He did not place at all in the actual race.
He didn't, but
surprisingly, Evan Mobley got a
yeah. Vote. If you do see a more clear one, let me know. But for Kevin though, yeah, he's gonna be just a bucket. Again, it's not gonna be a forced bucket. It's just whenever it's his time to score, You're gonna definitely know. He's gonna get in that post. We've seen it. He got in the actually. What I'll say this about the Pels game. He got the ball at the same elbow about 4 or 5 times in a row, and he got a bucket every single time. He had a little jab series to the left, got to the and one lay with his right hand, had a post fade, had another bucket on the other side. Like it's a beauty to watch him just dominate the mid range and just get to his spots. So yeah, Kevin looked good, and it's gonna be fun having him as a star. And as I mentioned, I love that he's able to talk to the young guys. Reed mentioned it in the post game presser. KD is a good leader in the sense that he makes sure to tell you if you're doing a good job in certain areas, giving high fives, things like that. It may seem simple, but coming from a basketball legend, a top 10, 15 player of all time, however you view him, is really big for a young team who definitely idolized him growing up. So, yeah, really excited about Kevin. I think he's going to have a great season. I hope he gets up for game 1 against OKC for obvious reasons. But, yeah, that's all I have to say about Kev. We can jump to – go ahead.
No, Russell, real quick. I found where he finished. Where he finished on the MVP ladder on NBA.com.
Yeah, where they put him at. I'm curious.
He did not finish top 10. Somehow, some way, LeBron was number 6, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But he did not finish top 10, but he was in the next 5. It was him, Brunson, Harden, Mobley, and Trae Young. But Sengun finished there. And then I want to look up, did he finish the week before that? Where did he finish?
Because as Will looks, he was really getting some traction.
He was top 10.
Yeah, he was getting some traction. Yeah. It's gonna be good this year, guys. That's okay. That's what it's looking.
Did he finish?
He's gonna be
okay. So no, he did. So the week before the finale, he finished number 10. So it's like LeBron being on this list is kind of crazy to me, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm hating, but yeah, we can move on. Did you want to move into
Let's get to him, man, because I think he may have it. Like if you just look at the final stat line, he may have a case for team MVP.
That's what I'm saying. Like the MVP is tough.
Yeah,
man. You can go to a couple people.
Yeah, I don't know how I lost his stats. Well, if you have those stats, then I'll spill my take.
I have his stats for the one game he played this week.
Okay, I'll pull it up when you find him. Just cut me off. But Amin, I'll just talk about what I saw. Early on, it was sloppy.
We can go up his stats for the preseason as a whole.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. First game was sloppy with the handle. Game 2, I liked what I saw. Him and Sengun had a good 1-2 dynamic. Sengun had 5 assists to him. And that was beautiful. I loved every action from that. I got to speak on the confidence on the jumper. As Will pulls it up, I do know he shot. He shot 4 or 6 from 3 on the preseason. I'll say that. In one of them, he had a toe on the line. So he really shot like 5 or 7. Actually, I can't give it to him. But, I mean,
it would have been
he thought it was a 3. I love the confidence, though. And last year, I said it on pod again. I'll probably repeat myself a lot. I don't care. But he shot with confidence last year. He just was not hitting any above the break threes. 37% from the corner. But we got him hitting.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, but he's hitting.
He shot him above the break. I mean, he did both. He did corner.
Yeah, and we would be like, oh, what's your phrase? Lord have mercy, you would say. So he's actually hitting them now. And it's a beauty to see. He said it in the pregame. Not pregame, I always say pregame. The media day presser, he was like, I'm very confident on my shot. And it showed in those 4 preseason games. So you got a man with the jumper. He's scoring at will. He's hitting free throws. Maybe that goes into the jumper and the confidence there. But 9 of 9 from the free throw line in that last game. He shot over 90% from the free throw line. Am I wrong, Will?
No, so
let's get the stats out real quick and I'll finish.
3 preseason games, he had 17 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, the 3 turnovers, which is
kind
of nasty, but it is what it is. Still, 68 true shooting. He shot 67% from 3 on 2 attempts a game. Excuse me, and then 92% from the free throw line on 4 attempts. So
92 from the line is a game. Again, it's 3 preseason games, guys. I know. I would be happy if he finishes like above 75. But yeah, that's huge for Amin Thompson. Again, love the confidence. That's the main thing. He's only 22. And I really do think there's going to be a time where he's going to be like a knockdown mid-range shooter. Like Giannis right now is around 45%.
He's surprisingly a good mid-range shooter. He doesn't take them.
He was solid last year.
When he takes them, they're pretty good. Yeah, like statistically speaking, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
It just didn't take a lot.
Yeah, so I'm very confident Amin's going to take it to that next level. Yeah. I don't know if he'll be an all-star. It's going to be tough. It's the West. But he could be.
That's my hot take, man. Especially because they're dividing it up by
all
foreign players,
right?
and American players. Which I mean, and y'all can correct me if it comes if I'm wrong. how I understand that to mean is they're going to put all the European guys on one team. And because literally all the best players in the league, especially with Jason Tatum out, the 5 best players in the league are all European guys.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to argue 6 if you want to include like Wemby in there.
Oh yeah, he's in there. He's in there. Yeah, he's in there.
Yeah, you're gonna have a lot more opportunities for Americans to make the team. Like I said, funny enough, I think it's gonna be a bit more difficult for Sengun to make it, and I think he's a lot. So I think Amin's gonna be in there because knock on wood, he's healthy. So there's gonna be someone who gets hurt, right? Knock on wood, it's not one of our guys, but someone who's gonna be voted in is not gonna make because they're gonna be hurt. And then he's gonna put up a lot of points, rebounds, assists, steals. He's gonna be firmly in the deep race. The national media loves him in. I know it was Steve Nash who was raving about him recently, and I want to say it was some other national guy who was really the media loves him. He's going to be in that deep boy conversation. They're going to have him on national television every single night. He's going to have the attention, the eyes on him to get voted in there. I think he's going to make it, man. That's been my hot take. I think we have 3 All-Stars because we're going to have the record to justify having 3 guys. So I think he gets it.
I would love it. Again, I could see it happening. I could.
Yeah. I think he gets it. But yeah, in that one game against the Pelicans, he had 21 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. It was obviously his best game. 5 of 8 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, 9 of 9 from the free throw line. He had 3 turnovers, so a 1-to-1, that's a turnover ratio, which obviously isn't the greatest. But he had an 88 true shooting. And what I loved about that game against the Pelicans is you saw the game against the Hawks. He was kind of unsure of himself. He didn't know, how he wanted to play. I think in the Pelicans game, it was just be Amin Thompson. Right, and he just went out there and played his game. It looked really good. The handle is still a work in progress. Obviously, it's a lot better. Obviously, it's still a work in progress. There was, I think, the real issue for me, honestly, isn't even the dribble. It was he struggled to throw entry passes. Something I noticed that that's gonna have to obviously get cleaned up because Katie and Sengun, and to a lesser degree Jabari, they're gonna need those. So clean that up. The defense obviously looks really good. But the big key here is the 9 of 9 from the free throw line and 2 of 3 from 3. Now the 3, mind you, it's a 3-game sample size, so not the biggest sample. And he probably will not shoot 2 or 3 good, or what was it? What number I said he shot? 67%. He's obviously not going to shoot that well in the regular season, even if it's on 2 games. He's probably going to be, I think, a good mark for Amin. If Amin touches 34 this year on 2 attempts, I would be over the moon with that. I'd be over the moon with 33, 34, right? And I think he can do it. So I didn't even know what you're talking about because I think they have strategically put him in the corner. I think that's where he shoots.
For sure. Best. Yeah, he's knocked down the corner.
Yeah, I think that's where they think he feels the most comfortable shooting. But he's shot about the break threes off the dribble. It wasn't catch and shoot. He was walking into him.
They were sagging off of him. And he was like, all right, bet, I'll pull it.
Yeah.
And he was hitting
him. He let him fly. But the important thing for me is the free throws because Amin Thompson is 6'7", 6'8". He's going to be a downhill demon transition in the half court set. He's going to get fouled. He's going to draw a lot of free throws. And the important thing is when you draw these free throws, because you're going to get a lot of them, do you make them?
Yeah.
And he 99 from the free throw line, 92% in preseason on 4 attempts a game. I think he's going to shoot probably closer to 5, 6 a game, honestly. You make your free throws, dude. And the team as a whole make free throws this year, right, in preseason, right? And that's something that we struggled with in the past. Funny enough, we beat the Warriors, Jalen Green struggles and all, if we make free throws. We just didn't make free throws that series. And so the team as a whole making free throws obviously changes a lot.
Real quick before they shot the best mark, 85.2% from the free throw line. That's the best out of every team in the preseason.
Yeah, that checks. Shout out to Josh Okogie too. We can light him up in a second, but he made a lot of free throws in preseason. But yes, Amin, if you make your free throws and just give me I don't know, you take 3 threes a night, make one of them. On top of the downhill he's gonna get, the play finishing opportunities he's gonna get, man, he's gonna be. I predicted 18 points per game before the season. Dude, he might touch 20. I'm saying he might if he's making free throws and making a single or 3 a night. He's gonna get 10 points a night easy off of transition and Sengun finding him.
I agree.
That's 10 points right there. He's gonna get honestly that might be lowballing it, to be completely honest with you, right? So finding 10 more points within the flow of a game, he can do it. I think he can. So that's how I feel about him in Thompson. He's going to be really good for us this year. Tari Eason looked really good in that game. That Pelicans game, he hit 20 points, 1 rebound, didn't have any assists, but he had 2 steals and a block. 9 to 15 from the field. He has not made a three in preseason.
He hit one.
And I don't
He
know
hit
when
one.
he had
He's
one in
shooting like
preseason.
11%.
Are you sure?
I look because
let me check the box.
I made a young core tweet and I went down the splits of Sengun, Amin, Jabari, and Reed, and I got to Tari. I was like, damn. It was like 53,
He made
11,
one against
71
the
splits.
Jazz.
But he shot well from the
Yeah.
field. That'll be my agenda for my part of it.
Yeah, he shot well from the field. He just can't make threes.
Yeah.
And I mean, same thing there. It's a small sample size. So
Yeah, it's
just as
preseason.
as a men shoot 67%, Tari shooting his low percent, that's kind of not how it would go during the regular season. But if I had to cherry pick, that's the biggest thing. No, it's two things. Make your threes. He's getting good looks. Just make them. And then there are times where the decision making could still be a step better, right? In terms of holding the ball too long, or driving and getting himself in trouble and not having a plan to get out of it. Just different stuff like that he can clean up along the way. But that being said, he's going to be our sixth man. He's going to be the guy who's known for creating chaos when he checks into the game. I love the fact that he, one of his teammates are lobbying for him to win sixth man of the year. But like I said, he gave us 20 real points, laser self-rated buckets against the Pelicans. He's not going to give you 20 every night, but if your sixth man is good for double-digit points every single night, which I think Tari will be, I mean, that says a lot about your team, man. When you have that offensive punch off the bench on top of the fact that he's going to, like I said, he hit 2 steals on the block. He's going to provide a lot of good defense. I mean, it says a lot about your team, man. So I'm excited for Tari for this year. Stay healthy. That's the biggest key. Forget everything I just said. Stay healthy. We need you.
That is the main thing. I like to see him play backs-to-backs this year. I don't know why I said backs-to-backs. Back-to-backs. I'd like to see him to do those this year. He had a quiet 20 in that game. It got overshadowed by Jabari cutting up, Amin having a really good game. I looked at the box score. I was like, oh shit, Tari got 20. So yeah, again, really good deep Rockets team, and Tari is just a really good piece to add to that. He's gonna come off the bench, doing the same thing he did last year, having a ton of energy, ton of deflections, a ton of steals. He didn't show me anything different than I really knew about him. No new development from what I've seen, but he did look good, and I know he's going to be a huge impact player for this Rockets team. And again, I know the Rockets front office and everybody upstairs loves Tari Eason. So yeah, another guy I'm excited for. Happy. He's obviously here. I want to see the deadline for him to get extended is in like a few days. The one day, 20th. It's 20th or is it 18th?
Yep. It's like Monday. I want to say like 3 o'clock.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. If we hear someone, we may come on here and say something quick. But yeah, I hope something goes on for him there and he can get a deal. But yeah, I'm excited about Tari. Preseason, it was cool. Hit your threes and we're good. But that's all about him. We talked about 5 players.
Like I said, Steven
we
Adams.
Talked about 6. Yeah,
really
let's go. Steve will be 7th. Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't think there's really much to talk about. He was good. Set screens, rebounded. Did you want to say something about Steven Adams?
Yeah, I was just going to talk about that double big lineup. I was just going to say they were a plus 26, I believe. Steve was a plus 26 in his minutes. Him and Sengun literally dominated the Pelicans. Like, they get in the game, get about 60% of the rebounds. I want to say in his time, Steve played 24 minutes. The Rockets outscored them 79 to 53 in 24 minutes. He scored 79 points in his 24 minutes. And they were locking up, getting every rebound. Like, that is so impactful. And again, that's why Will mentioned they're going to roll with Steve-O game 1 against OKC. You kind of have to. But in the playoffs, that's probably something they'll jump to if need be. I don't think it's a regular starting lineup. Steve-O's not the guy to play the whole, season as a starter. He's going to need his rest. But, yeah, he's a real impact player. And anyone who tries to undermine his ability to just impact the game is crazy. I think he's a top 100 player off his impact alone. I'm surprised he's never in those conversations. Am I tripping, Will? Maybe I am. I just think he's that impactful.
No, he's definitely the most impactful players. He was I want to say a team high plus 26.
He was, and he was literally the reason. Yeah.
He was a team high. So no, he's just, like I said, that's why it's hard to talk about him. He didn't really play that much, and when he plays, he's just good. Like, it was just good at basketball. JD Davison, I'll kind of highlight him quickly. He didn't have the best game against the Pelicans, but he did have a really good game last night against the Hawks. Like I said, he had a lot of increased responsibility this game. He had 14 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals, had a poster dunk, 5 of 7. I'm sorry, 57 true shooting, 2 of 5 from 3. He looked good, and my thing with JD is he's the ball is in his hands. I think he's making the right decision consistently. And mind you, it's preseason basketball, 4 game size, but he's he's impressing with the way he plays. I think he plays like a vet, and he's really young. And so, yeah, man, like in G League MVP, there's obviously some room in his game for him to grow. Unfortunately, the Rockets cannot give him a guaranteed deal right now because of the apron rules. But December 15th, when we start making roster moves, Mr. Aaron Holiday, man, I might have, like, respectfully, because I actually do think Aaron Holiday's a good basketball player. I've kind of, like I said, I had the love-hate relationship with Aaron Holiday, but JD's a bit younger, and I've liked the preseason minutes better when JD runs point guard than when Aaron runs point guard. And so, like, Mr. Aaron, if I gotta get rid of somebody to make sure we don't, because somebody could poach JD from us, honestly, like, because we can't sign, they could poach him, and I don't want to lose JD right now. At least maybe I'm overreacting to a small sample size, but he's looked really good for me. Surprised me in preseason. He's my biggest preseason shocker. I want to keep him around for the long haul. So hopefully that happens. And the last thing I'll say before I kind of move on to the next thing I want to talk about is just Josh Okogie looked pretty good in that last game. He had 28 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks, 8 of 15 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3, 10 of 12 from the free throw line, which is, like I said, I think he was getting to the free throw line a lot in preseason. Then he had a 69 true shooting. I actually want to look up because I think he did shoot a lot of free throws every game in preseason.
No, bro. In the first game, he didn't make a single shot, but he had 8 points because he had 10 free throws.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I want to say he's been drawing a lot of free throws.
Yeah, he gets fouled on a lot of threes. I want to say 3 different occasions. Yeah,
he has.
Yeah,
and he's been making them. So shout out to Josh Okogie. He probably won't play too much for us, especially when Durant Finney-Smith comes back. But
to start he might.
Yeah, I'll say maybe start the season he will. But like I said, when DFS comes back, he probably won't play that much. But he's made the most of his opportunities. He's playing good team basketball. He's playing good defense. The biggest thing, and I said it, is just please don't play him and Clint Capella at the same time, or him and a non-spacer. So like him and anybody else out there who teams aren't guarding, please don't play them at the same time because it just completely kills the offense when you have 2 guys out there that defenses are just completely sagging off of. It just kills it. So yeah, please don't play him. Like we had a national, it was like him, Amin, Tari, Sengun, and Capella. That's who it was, and it was nasty.
It was a -6. They got scored 8-2 in around 3 or 4 minutes.
It was nasty, bro. It was really bad. So yeah, like don't do that no more. But outside of that, no, I think he's been pretty solid. But yeah, that's all I have to say about the preseason. I'll let you kind of get your last text off, and I want to ask you a question.
Outside of that, Sengun and Capella look good in that very first game together. I'd like to see them get some. If they're gonna go with that lineup, they need some more shooting out there. The lineup they threw out there in the Pelicans game was not ideal for Sengun and Capella. The reason that double big works against Devo is it's dominant on the boards. Clint is a good offensive rebounder. He's not dominant, but I can see Sengun and Capella maybe having some good chemistry. But again, there's got to be some shooting around that. So that's what I'd like to see if they want to go with that pairing again, and they will because Devo's not playing every game. So. Fix the spacing, we're good to go. JD Davison, again, he was impressive. I like the facilitating, confidence on the 3 ball. Really nice dunk yesterday. I was behind the bench at that game, and they were going insane after JD had that poster. So, fun young player. We mentioned it, G League MVP, all this good stuff. So, he'll probably be a good piece for the Rockets. I don't really think he's going to get any burn, but going to be a fun watch on the Vipers if y'all like watching the G League. So, yeah, it was a good pickup in my personal opinion. So,
great pickup, honestly.
He for a second it was looking like he was going to take Aaron Holiday's. I don't know about take, but he was trying to get Aaron Holiday's backup spot.
Hey, I've liked it better. Just as unbiased as I can be. I think the offense just looks better when JD Davis, because he makes skip passes. He runs pick and roll. Holiday doesn't do that. Holiday to me is a shooting guard, but
he's a solid backup shooting guard.
That's a conversation for another day.
I'll say so. That was actually it. I was going to say for the preseason, I think. So yeah, go ahead.
That's everybody because I mean, Holiday was solid. Jeff Green had a really good game.
Shout out to Jeff.
Isaiah Crawford actually looked pretty good in that
20
last
points.
game.
20 points in his debut. Shout out to Isaiah Crawford.
71 true shooting. So all around solid play. What I want to ask you 2 things, right?
Let's do it.
Number 1, now we talked about it. Who is your preseason MVP?
Oh, all right. I'll still go with, even though he had a bad game against the Pels, I'm still gonna go with Alperen Sengun because he runs the show. I'm talking about 8.7 assists per game as a center is major in like 25 minutes a night, and that along with the 13 points, the high efficiency, getting boards, he's getting steals, he's getting blocks. He was just doing everything, and that's what MVP does. He does everything. He may not be putting up the most points, but he's running the show. So that'd be my answer.
That was my answer too. I think it's pretty obvious he was our best player in preseason. Well, actually, it wasn't obvious. There was a lot of guys who had some arguments for it, but I'm gonna give it to Sengun for what Brad said. I think just the role he played was just too important for us. So
yeah.
Shout out to Sengun. And the last thing I wanted to say is the extensions for Tari and Kevin Durant, because this will probably the last podcast you guys see from us until the deadline, unless of course one of them gets extended, in which case we have a podcast about that. But
Yeah.
Brian Windhorst came out today and pretty much said that if the Rockets were offering Kevin Durant a 2-year max, or not offering, if they had offered him a 2-year max, it would have been signed by now. So I think it's pretty safe to assume that that has not been offered as of today. Maybe Monday comes and they change their mind, because I do think that I think you can kind of afford to go to RFA with Tari, but you don't want KD hitting UFA. So I would extend him for sure Monday. And if I had to, if I was a betting man, I think he does get extended before the deadline on Monday. I think Tari is a bit more complicated. I know some people are saying that they think part of the hang up is the number from KD, because I think that kind of impacts how much you want to give Tari for obviously aping reasons. And then obviously there's the injury concerns and whatnot with Tari, so you don't want to give him too much money if he's not going to be healthy enough to play on that contract. So I think Tari's contract situation is a bit more complicated, and I know some people out there don't really like RFA. I don't really have an issue with it. I think that if we can't agree on a number, the biggest concern for me is not RFA, because we would just, if he got signed, we would just match it. The biggest thing for me is I don't want Tari to go into a season where he's playing for a contract. I want Tari to just be Tari Eason, not Tari Eason looking for a contract. So that's really it. But if they can't agree on a number, I feel pretty comfortable taking him to RFA. I said, I would just match. He's not gonna get let go. So yeah, that's kind of where it is. If I had to say same thing there, if I was a betting man, I think KD does get extended. Not too sure Tari does at this point.
I'll say this. You said you were asking me 2 questions. Was that the second one?
Yeah, that was it. Just what do you think about the extensions?
I think KD, I think something happens for the deadline for sure. Tari, I hope, seeing every single young guy get one, with the exception of Cam, of course, he got traded. It would be, I know he'd be a little sick about that, but he's been relatively unhealthy. Had the bad injury 2 years ago now, maybe. Last year he played, he had a small setback with that and he missed some time. So again, just helping he's healthy. I think he's a hell of a bench piece. I know how this front office and again, people upstairs feel about Tari Eason. They love him. We've talked to those guys and they've shared their love for Tari Eason very loudly. So I do think something could happen. And if it doesn't, it's not because they don't like Tari Eason. They probably just had a misunderstanding on the number itself. But I don't think he's going anywhere. I personally don't. Again, he's literally an Ime Udoka basketball player. Put him in the lab. If the 3-point shot was small. But that's all I got to say on this pod, though. A really fun preseason. Finished first in points. And that's what you love to see. So we'll see how it goes against game 1. I'll ask you a question, Will, and then we'll close. It doesn't have to be a long answer. It can be a quick one. How you feel game 1? We get the win? We get the loss?
I think we win because they won't have Jalen Williams. And I think that they're we can key in on SGA and force all the other guys to beat us offensively. And I don't think that Case and Wallace and Lou Dort and Caruso will be as comfortable doing that as asking our ancillary pieces to beat them, right? And I think we're going to win a lot of the possession battle with the rebounding and stuff like that. So no, I think we win.
Yeah, I'll say really quickly, I think we win. We last saw them in a March matchup, and we ran that double big against them, and they couldn't do anything with it. Shout out Jalen. Jalen had a good game that game. I think KD's going to have a good game too, though, in his game.
He's going to be motivated to win because he's
going to be motivated to win.
I'll say ring night. So
yeah, right. So I'm excited, man. I can't wait. Will and I will definitely be on right after that on Wednesday or maybe after that next game. But y'all see us around that time. Thanks for tuning into the B&W show. If you haven't already, please sub. Again, Will and I, we're going to be recording a lot more this year. So we're excited for that. We're excited for a great season. Got KD. It's going to be amazing vibes. So, yeah, we'll be back soon. Thanks again for watching. Much love, everybody.